Welcome into the latest edition of Extra Time. We have Jules and Jan joining us. Craig's here too. I'm just scanning to check there's... Oh, there is a Club World Cup question in there, just to warn you, okay?
Great draw, great draw. Craig texted me all the time. He loved it. Trophy, fantastic. They would send it into space after the World Cup, and it would be around the world.
What I would say about games in this country, there'll be a lot of people go and watch these games, and that's great, and people love to be able to go and see some of these stars that they can only see most of the people on TV. But it's not because it's a FIFA Club World Cup. We used to televise pre-season friendlies. I think maybe we still do, actually, I don't know. But it was the ICC tournament, whatever it is, and they were just pre-season friendlies. Now, I've been to Michigan, to the big house. There was 110,000 there. Chelsea, Real Madrid. I've been to Houston, I've been to Santa Clara. You'll fill a stadium out when you get these stars.
Hard Rock for the Classico, I've been there.
Yeah, and people will come and watch. And that's great. But they're not going to come and watch because it's the FIFA Club World Cup. They're going to come and watch.
They will now. They will now. This will be so competitive. This is much better. This will be so competitive. Remember, they're coming 110,000 to see a pre-season match. Now they will see the best teams. They're working for so much money around the world. Craig,
well, I tell you what, I'll get on a Greyhound bus, I will, and I'll go from Connecticut to wherever Salzburg are playing and watch them, because I really want to watch Salzburg.
Don't underestimate Salzburg. Great team. 6th in the Austrian League, and they're playing Real Madrid. Liverpool not there.
I will be the modern day John Candy, right? I'll be planes, trains, and automobiles.
Huh? Yep. Okay.
Down there.
In this Christmas time, you are the modern Scrooge. Or what's it called in English?
The Scrooge of the World Cup.
My point is, there's an appetite to see big stars in this country and fill stadiums without it being a FIFA Club World Cup. We've all seen it. You know, we go to these friendlies, there's 100,000 there because they want to see the big stars. That doesn't mean nobody's pitching up there at these games going, FIFA World Cup, I can't wait to see who wins it. They just want to see the players.
Okay.
And that's fine. I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
By the way, I booked my holidays.
He's booking his
June
holidays.
the 15th to July.
Just make sure they're not in America, because you might find yourself at one of those stadiums covering a game for us. All right. Which manager will be hired by a big club first, Jan? Marco Silva, Andoni Irola, or Thomas Frank?
Good question. We just talked about in the show how many good managers there are in English football at the moment. Silva, I think... I'm going to Everton tomorrow. We're doing a thing because it's the last Merseyside derby at Goodison, Everton against Liverpool. And I went through all their stats. Silva was 8th in the league the first season. Then they fired him in next season and so on. So I like Silva. I got a feeling when I see them profile of the managers that is hired now in the Premier League that Irola will be the one. Because what he's doing at the moment, he's beaten... Manchester City, Arsenal, and now Tottenham tonight. So I will go Irola.
I was telling Jan before we came on air live just after 5:30.
Why did you mention that bit?
What's that?
On air live just after 5:30. Was that a dig at Jules and his internet?
No.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I was a bit late.
No, it wasn't a dig, Jules. It was actually factual.
It was
just factual. A little bit late.
I wondered why you mentioned it. That's all.
You know, so anyway, I digress.
Okay.
It's late for these guys. Have you got Stevie Nicholls' cell phone mobile number, Jan? Because he's in Liverpool.
No. Can you send that to me? Because
I can send it to you because he's in Liverpool. But if you don't
I will look him up.
If it somehow doesn't go through because the internet seemingly is quite bad over there, then just walk about the streets of Liverpool and look around the gutters. See if you can see Stevie sort of lying around somewhere.
That's a good idea, that. Send me the numbers, Craig. Send me his number.
I will send you his number because he's in Liverpool. I don't know if he's going to the game because he didn't know.
Yeah, well, nobody's heard from him since he's got there, so hopefully we will.
He texted
Dan.
He texted Dan yesterday regarding some not very good Liverpool defending.
Yes, I heard that on the show.
So he's there. I'll send you his number, Jan, anyway, just in case.
Okay. OL Rhode Island says, will we see Jules here in the USA for all PSG games against Sounders Atletico and Botafogo?
I hope so. You know, one of our bosses said to me, what do you want to do this summer? There's the Euros, the Women's Euros in Switzerland, or there's the Club World Cup in the US. And you know me, I'm so humble and down to earth, right? And I'm easy to work with. So I said, listen, boss, you know, I'm not too picky. So wherever you want to send me, you send. But really, I was hoping you would say, okay, yeah, you go to New York and you follow PSG in the Club World Cup, because really, I love the Women's Euros and I love women's football, but I would love to come over for the Club World Cup. So I wait to see what the bosses decide. But yeah, part of me, a bigger part of me wish that I can come to the US for it.
That was a long way to tell you you're desperate to come to New York, Jules.
He's just directly told our boss.
Yeah,
he would
but
like
you know,
to come
I have
here.
to be charming when I say it. So,
Yeah.
Well, he's going to be talking
Work
because
visa.
Craig's not going to be here.
Work visas are a problem, so he just can't do it.
If Craig comes to Europe, we all want to go. If Craig comes to Europe, we all want to go to USA. By the way,
I'm coming to Norway. Consvinger.
Yeah.
You know it.
All right. Craig, is being good at set pieces wrong? Seeing all the hue and cry about Arsenal's set piece proficiency makes one think that's the case for some. Why can't others also start getting better? Also, how would you suggest to counter if they were the opposition? How would you suggest to counter it if they were the opposition?
Well, clearly, I think. The answer is being. Why would it be wrong to try and get every minute detail to make your team better and to win more games, get more points? That can never be wrong. The fact that, interestingly enough, Everton have got 6. Now, I don't know if they have a set-piece coach or not. Arsenal have 7 goals, I believe, from set pieces. We put a graphic up yesterday. But it's not wrong, and Arsenal are such a threat, it seems. And it's not the fact that they've scored 7. It's the fact that there's been so many near misses. It probably could have been double that. How do you defend it? I don't think the zonal that we saw from United yesterday is going to get the job done. Off the top of my head, I can't remember if anybody's... when they've all gone to the back post, maybe Juls can help me out here, I don't know if any teams have decided to go completely man for man against them. But sometimes even when you do that, it's difficult with the physicality of the Silibas and the Gabriels, and then you've got the delivery, which I know Jan's big on. When everybody's big on it, it's all about delivery. The delivery's not there, the goals are not there, but the balls in from Saka and Rice have been tremendous. But Jules, off the top of your head, who do you think have handled Arsenal the best set pieces, or has anybody coped with them this year better than others?
It's a good question, because obviously, as you said, 7 goals in 14. Some games they've scored more than once, as we saw obviously in the game against United with the 2 goals. I remember the game at Bournemouth. Okay, they were down to 10 men, and Saliba, who is a big part. Gabriel is the main guy, even if he was not there last night, because it seems that all the plays on those set pieces, especially corners, are drawn for him. So the others are blocking, making space for him, disturbing the goalkeeper, disturbing the opposition defense, to be able for Gabriel to score. And that's why he scored more goals than anybody else, because Saliba is at his service. Timber is, again, Havertz the same, etc., etc. So, but I remember the Bournemouth game where they dealt really well with it, and ended up also themselves scoring on their routine on set piece, which was different to Arsenal one, but a very smart one too. But it hasn't happened many times. And in some of those big games, like the Spurs away game, for example, obviously, like the City game, now the United game, those set-piece goals have been very, very valuable, obviously.
But it's interesting. Yesterday, Craig, you were saying that nearly every corner is a goal chance. I was at the stadium yesterday, and I did every corner. What was the result? And I think of the 13, it was only maybe 2 or maybe 3 that they didn't create anything. And the funny thing, we can talk a lot about they being so good at it, but it's actually 6-7 players running in a high tempo, winning the ball. So it's interesting to see how you're going to defend it. Maybe some teams are too deep. Maybe in our time, Craig, you have these 2-3 players only going on the ball. It's one direction you can go. Can you man-mark Gabriel, as he is the key guy, and all that kind of things? But I think Manchester United yesterday seemed a bit too deep, if you know what I mean, in the box.
What I've not seen anybody do, and I mentioned this at the start of the season, is if you want to try and thin the box out, because a lot of barging and blocking, and that's fine. We all used to do it. A little bit of pushing here and there, and the goalkeeper struggling to get off the line because of bodies. And I said this early in the season, is to maybe test Arsenal's mettle or whoever it is, and leave 3 players up, 1 wide on the other side and 1 striker. They have to have 4 back, unless they're going to leave themselves 3 and 3. They have to have 4 back and 1 in front, and that kind of maybe negates some of the problem of the blocking. But I haven't seen anybody try that yet. They've tried to defend it by getting everybody back, and it just hasn't worked. So maybe you do something like that, thinking outside the box. I've seen that happen before with teams that leave players up the field. Ironically, you don't see it as much now, which I think is a bit of a surprise with all the blocking that goes on in the box. And the other way is maybe you double up on Gabriel and Silva, whoever it is, or you have to maybe forego marking one of the smaller players, and you have to take a risk that way. Because thus far,
you know what's hard as well. What's hard as well. I don't think you can work on it at training before playing Arsenal, but you can't really reproduce what they're doing. So let's say a build-up pattern. You would know what the team is doing. The goalkeeper goes wide, then you go down the line, then they might come inside, and you can prepare your pressing and your press according to what this team has been used to do in the way they build up from the back, for example. But on set pieces, unless you have Gabriel with you at the training ground, and Saliba and Timber and the others, and you've got Rice and Saka hitting those balls, you can't reproduce that. You can try, have your players pretending to be Gabriel and Saliba and Saka and Rice, etc. But it won't be the same. So video analysis is okay, and you can see the movement that they have, etc. But actually you physically trying to work on it at training to prevent them from scoring or creating something, I think it's really difficult because you can't reproduce it for yourself at training.
And that's what I think. I think that's why it's by Arsenal. It's all a mental thing now, because everybody, you can see on every corner that Arsenal got against Manchester United, you can see the fear in the eyes of Manchester United. So I don't think it's about being so. I don't think it's about the runs and the blocking and all that kind of things. And to Craig's point, when you take everybody down, you create the chaos as well. So when you see Arsenal scoring now, was it an own goal or who scored? Because it's so much chaos. So I think that a way to defend this is to take some of your players away from that. So there is a clear duel between the Arsenal player and the opposition, or that you have a space for the goalkeeper to come and get the ball. Because at the moment, no, Arsenal create chaos. And chaos is advantage for the attacking team. That's always been like that from set pieces.
So you've got to try and make... I don't want to go into it. It's Arsenal. They're very much a topic on this, and they're hitting the stride again. They're playing well. Not brilliant yesterday, but the previous 2 or 3 games, they were really strong. But these set pieces are a big talking point. They're making all these teams think. How do we deal with this? Maybe you have to make them think. If you leave those 3 players up, who are they putting back? They're not putting Trossard, Odegaard, maybe even the Havertz. They're not putting those players back to mark. If you put 3 up, they're putting defensive players back. Okay, they might still have one of the centre-backs up. So you have to make them think, which the teams are not doing at the moment. They're just getting everybody back. Arsenal are putting great balls in, they're blocking and making great runs and they're scoring. The other side of it is, the signings they made in the summer, some of them have added to the problems for the other team. I know he didn't play yesterday, but Calafiori and Marino are big, strong players as well. When you add them into the already, Saliba and Havertz is good in there, and Gabriel, when you add in those new signings of Calafiori when he plays and Mikel Merino, there's a lot to think about picking up these Arsenal attacks. So it is a headache, and I hope the set-piece coach, Mr. Joubert, little wage rise maybe.
Maybe we're going to wrap it up there, but it's been a very interesting conversation on set pieces for Arsenal. It's going to continue tomorrow. Kieran Gibbs will be on the show.
Is he on?
Yes, he's on the show. You are on the show too. That is going to be one of the topics, Arsenal, tomorrow. So make sure to
tell Kieran now. Give him time to think about it.
All right, Kieran, there you go.
Send him a note.
You've been told. Thanks to Juls, thanks to Jan, thanks to all of you for watching.